Next up is going to be Conrad, so I'd like to call Conrad up.
Thank you.
Here you are, my friend.
Okay. Yeah. Not starting yet, but I'll just let everyone know this is my first time ever pitching. So I'm just kind of going to wing it. Don't have high expectations, but if you give me your low expectations, I hope I can exceed them. So that'll be a positive for me. Okay, so no slide, and I could just start whenever.
Now's a good time.
Okay, cool. I'm going to start off. How many people here were athletes at some point in their lives? Okay, and that made a big impact for you guys as well? Yes. So I swam for 15 years. I think I started competitively swimming around when I was 8 or 9, and originally I wasn't that into it, but my parents forced me through it, and I thought that was just their form of torture for me. But eventually, I think I was 14 or so, and then I got really good. I'm like, wow, I'm good at this, so I might as well keep at it. And I got good, I got better, and then my freshman year of high school, it was a 500 freestyle. I dropped 8 seconds at the championship out of nowhere, and that resulted in a finish of the second fastest freshman in the nation that year. So I was like, yes, I'm on top of the world. This is awesome. I am improving every year. I'm hardworking. I'm focused, motivated. And then for the next 3 years, I only improved by 4 seconds in the 500 freestyle. I don't know what happened. You know, I came to practice every day, and I put in the work. You know, I go in, the coach tells me what to do, I did it. But what I realized is back then I didn't do anything, I didn't do enough outside of the pool. And I thought, well, where was I supposed to learn all this information about that? You could have self-discipline and be researching all of this yourself. But then I thought, maybe this is also supposed to be coming from my coach. But the coach was already doing enough, bringing the workouts and occasionally bringing in people. But I noticed other coaches were doing more for their swimmers. I noticed that, well, maybe I'll come back to that. Sorry, that's my first mistake. But what I'll say is I didn't give up after those 4 years, and I did get recruited to a college for swimming. And if I hadn't given up through the end of high school, I would have never qualified for Olympic trials, which was one of my biggest achievements in my life. So I was one of the fastest swimmers in the club team out here with that coach. And now, a couple years ago, they had a coaching change, and all of the fastest group is essentially going to colleges that were way faster than me. And why is that? Because this coach has world-class athletes coming to Santa Clarita to swim for him. He has the formula that makes people faster, and really revolutionary techniques and or training as well. And that's what I want to do, is kind of level the playing field with what the tools they have for coaching, which now kind of goes into my electrical engineering background that led me to build a wearable device that quantifies swim stroke, so that every day in practice you have some kind of logbook or progress on your work that you can keep track of. So maybe after my freshman year of swimming, I could have seen what my stroke was, what was my power, what was my efficiency, insights that come from the data that my wearable device gathers, and seen where the drop-off was, where I never got back to my form. So I guess that goes through my problem and my solution. But sticking with swimming, because I have such a great background in it, I'm sticking with swimmers because I know the amount of dedication that goes into it. It's essentially a part-time job that you're in the pool. I don't know how many other swimmers we have, but you can vouch for me, right? Okay. And I know that it's 6 a.m. practices, then you got your 2 hours later, and that's every day, and you don't even know how much time goes into recovering from your workouts, because there's not that much wear on your body. You just go, and it's just an energy drain, and then you feel like you can eat anything in the world. Okay. But that is the target market, and what this tool, wearable device, does is it gives coaches a way to see how their workouts are affecting their swimmers, seeing, oh, I was expecting them to be hitting their fastest pace today, but maybe these past few days I've been going harder than I expected. So now I see that feedback that their performance levels are lower. For the individual swimmer to have insights every day on force, power, biomechanics, that's what my device can provide. And currently what I see for competition in this space is maybe you've heard of Misfit Shine. I think Fitbit kind of applies. Really, like other people that are trying to quantify what people do, but they're only using sensors that are worn on one part of the body. And I just don't believe in that. I think you need multiple sensors to really gauge all the potential that you can achieve with your body. So that's where the biomechanical part comes in, and really, I guess I'm going into explaining what my whole engineering idea is, but that's how I differ from the rest of the market, is that I know that you need some more sensors on your body, that you need to focus on these biomechanics, and from the data I'm gathering, you will actually be able to have actionable insights, so that it's not just a matter of gathering and storing, that you have that next step of someone who knows what you're supposed to do, a coach essentially, that I guess knows how to. Sorry, guys. If I were to expand this to any other sport, you would have to have someone that's been there for like my 15 years of swimming, personally gone through the experience of what you need. If I wanted to apply it to baseball, that mechanics, like I can't just go into baseball saying like, I did it, here's the data, I'm going to sell this to baseball players now. No, someone needs to analyze that data, realize where it can improve and where you can give somebody actionable feedback to work off of it. So I don't see enough of that, but I have seen competitors that do go into that in-depth analysis, but they don't have, their market strategy is only for big teams that can afford it. Technology is not available for everyone. So I'm going after the crowdfunding kind of really, what do we call it? What's the word? Nope. The word is viral. Making this viral, going through the crowdfunding sites, and later on doing a market strategy that targets teams to sell to their swimmers. Because first you want the coach to adopt the technology, see what he can gain from it, and then as that spreads, more individuals will see it, and I imagine that's the way it goes. But I'm not a business expert, but that's something that I'll need to add to my team, and I figured that would be the best way to reach more people, just find the head of each team. But yeah, so currently my team is just focusing on building the product itself. I was an electrical engineer, so I've built the sensors, put together the hardware to store and collect this data. I've gone through this data myself because of my background. I knew what to look for. I knew what kind of feedback to provide to people. And the only other person on my team is also a teammate from Cal Poly. He was a materials engineer, and he's working on the enclosure and figuring out the fit for that. But the rest of my needs then are, this is my call to action, is that I need to build this team bigger. I need a web developer that can build the dashboard that will provide the feedback for the swimmers, the coaches, and additionally, I'm incorporating data science into it, since really as I'm testing these swimmers, or more swimmers start using this data, you can use big data to figure out what is the optimal stroke, what is the optimal mode for training, biomechanics, power, efficiency. Those kind of questions can be answered with more users that I have. And fortunately, I have a good start. I have a great relationship with the local coach here, who was a coach for Abby Weitzel and other Olympians from representing other countries. And I have their data, and I guess that's my that's a good start to all of it. So if you guys have any questions, that's it. Michael.
And do you mentioned focus on elite athletes and the performance needs that they have. Do you foresee this expanding or overlapping into more of a casual fitness swimmer, or how do you plan to address that the different needs, or are they different?
Right. So what I have gathered so far is really technical data that only I've been able to identify, and I've shown it to the local coach, who's really good at coaching and doing what he does, but he looks at this and he has no idea, and I have to transcribe it for him. I realize that's what I'm going to have to do for everyone who's non-technical, because really you have acceleration, you have rotational velocity, and it's in 3 dimensions. Who knows which angle, which way it's going? So there's going to be a gamification aspect that this is your score in this field, and this is how you're going to improve it. So you just want to increase that number and see how that number varies throughout every workout, through the week, through the year, and over time. Yeah.
When you designed this set of sensors, did you design them to be adapted to other sports, or just solely focusing on swimming?
So I was at one point thinking, well, if I can wear this for swimming, what's going to stop me from wearing it for any other sport? So that's why I kept it digital, and that way applying it to other sports is just a matter of programming other algorithms. Sure. And it's all going to be real-time processing that happens while you're in motion, so that you just put it on, you go do your workout, and that's all you need to worry about, is that you just do your thing. It's not supposed to be obtrusive. It's not going to be, in the way whatsoever. You just do your usual thing.
Isn't swimming specific necessarily, even though that's what you're currently doing?
Yes. So starting with swimming, so I could nail that market, and then we'll see. Yes.
Yeah. How many coaches have you gotten a chance to talk to about this?
All the coaches that I've swam for, essentially, but mainly working with the one that's in town, because that's where the fastest swimmers have been, and he's really all about incorporating technology. He really wants to know what's going on with his swimmers every single 25 of his workouts. So.
If I, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay. Question.
Yeah.
If you had to put a price on retail, what would the price have been?
Looks like the target right now is about $300, but that'll be for both arms, so that's like $150 per device then. Yeah.
And then what would your margin be?
It would become bigger down the line, but with the upfront costs and getting this up to speed faster, spreading it out to more teams, the margins just like, I'm not sure, actually. I'd have to look into that. That's a good question. Yes.
I guess so far in your journey of developing this, do you think you've had more trouble with the hardware, or do you think you're going to have more trouble with the data analysis? It just seems like with the swimming, it's very chaotic.
What have I had more trouble with? It's I wouldn't call it trouble. It hasn't just been trouble, because I think the thing with big data is first you want to quantify something, gather that data, and then you go into analyzing it. And from that analysis, you gain insights, and from those insights, you provide the actionable feedback. So really, when I first finally finished developing the hardware, which took me a year, then I had to start developing the algorithms, like a calibration method, figuring out a reference system for your body to then know how these sensors are positioned on your body and how to correlate everyone together. But it's just there's the next step, the next step, the next step. I wouldn't say that there has been the hardest part yet. It's just been one big challenge that I'm continuously working on. Yeah.
Yes. How much money are you looking to raise, and when do you think you would have
Just ready to write a check for you.
that? How long for production?
I think I talked to a hardware campaign manager for Indiegogo just this past month, and I think I'm going to target a crowdfunding campaign to be in March of next year. And my goal for the end of this year is to build another dozen prototypes that I can send out to teams and start doing team analysis that way. the amount of money I could just tell you to build these next set of prototypes, I think is going to be around probably like $2,000-3,000. But those costs will be very diminished later on. And as far as raising the money, need to like put together the team and realize like what's going to be sustainable and needed for them. It's all keeping costs low right now. As far as like raising the big amount of money that I need like later on, that's a little beyond. Any other questions? Oh, yes.
Do you have any success stories, like swimmers you helped and how much you improved them?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say that there was much improvement, but it was really interesting. There was a Colombian girl that swam for the Olympics for Colombia, and she was training with local coach Coley, and she had a really interesting spike in her acceleration or swim motion that no one else had, but it was happening consistently in her stroke. And I thought, wow, this is happening during the pool, and it looks like she's slipping. So what's going on? I told the coach about this, and he's like, all right, well, let's get the underwater camera and see what's going on. And he looks, and it's like, nope, she has like elite stroke, everything's great. So I'm like, why is this slip here? And that led me to identify that is when she's pulling back, she generates a lot of force into pushing out like that. So I realized maybe that's just a characteristic for faster swimmers to have that in there. But going through the whole process of being like, here's something unexpected that potentially looked like a problem, but then it wasn't. And I guess that's kind of like the little story. But the coach was willing to, even just a couple weeks before the Olympics, because this was done in July, he's just like, if I can improve her stroke in any way that will make her finish top 16 there, then I'm willing to take that risk. Because if she doesn't, and currently she's on pace not to, then nothing's going to change. So he was really all about doing that high risk, high reward, even right before the Olympics. That she's been swimming for years, but we're going to try to change her stroke right before. So that's my most interesting story, and I guess a lot more to learn from the data.
Are you keeping volunteers, like guinea pigs?
You could talk to me. Yeah, right now I have much more just experienced amateur swimmers that most likely will go to college for swimming. But yeah, later on I do want to have where do people begin and how do they end up after I've coached them a little bit. What are the most immediate improvements that people have? So, any other questions?
Excellent job, man. Thanks. You did awesome.